Welcome back to We're Right Here. I'm Karen Richards with CMB Bank, and today I'm pleased to have with us Sean Forney. Sean, thank you for your time today.
Yep, thank you.
Sean wears multiple hats. So Sean's the president of RWR Insurance out of Berkeley Springs. Sean is a Morgan County commissioner and also a member of the CMB Bank Advisory Board. So Sean, you've got a lot going on. So tell us about kind of your start in the business world and your journey to where you are today.
Like the very beginning
Yeah.
start? Okay, so I guess from an early age, you would probably, or looking back in time, you would probably look at me as a kid and say, "Yeah, maybe he could be an entrepreneur or some kind of business person at some point in his life." From an early age, we grew up pretty poor, and I knew I had to figure out a way to make money if I wanted to get anything. So it started out probably maybe third or fourth grade. I taught myself how to play Magic the Gathering and Pokemon so I could then sell the cards to my friends. And that's what I did to save money to buy a drum set. And I couldn't afford a four-wheeler with four wheels, but I could afford a three-wheeler. So I bought the most dangerous contraption ever made. I bought a three-wheeler. And so that's kind of where it started for me. And then I found out we were having our first daughter, Scotland, and realized I probably need to think about what I'm really going to do with my life. And I received a phone call from Nationwide Corporate looking for younger agents that were interested in the insurance business, because the insurance business isn't really typically something you grow up wanting to get into. And the goal of the program was to train people to maybe own their own agency one day, but it was selling personal lines. And I did it for about 10 months before I realized, I don't really like dialing 400 names out of a phone book. We had a mirror sitting at our desk, and that led me to commercial insurance. And once I sold my first policy, I said to myself, this is what I can see myself doing. So over the past 20 years, I spent almost 10 years, not quite 10 years in corporate America, working for publicly traded brokerage companies. And then it's like, that entrepreneurial spirit within me kind of roared up and said, you know what, let's do this for myself. So that's where we've been for the past 8 years. And of course, I've done several things. Whenever I took my first commercial insurance job, the guy that we met with that set up our 401k said, "Sean, I'm going to give you some advice," because I was just a young whippersnapper with a new baby. He said, diversification, diversification, diversification. Said it 3 times and it's stuck in here. And I probably took it a little too much to heart. And I've done commercial real estate, my self-storage facilities, which I made a graceful exit out of 4 years ago. My wife and I renovated the Star Theater in Berkeley Springs, which during COVID, it was an absolute awful time to own a movie theater. But it was fun. Like, we did it as a family. We had fun doing it. And then, of course, my current office is the Old Sheets in Berkeley Springs, which everybody still calls it the Old Sheets. They don't call it RWR. So
But that's okay. They know where you're at, right?
It's a staple. So we tell our clients, just come to the Old Sheets. So we renovated that building, and we're currently in the process of probably doubling, maybe tripling the square footage, hopefully within the next 10 months.
You've outgrown your space.
We have outgrown our space. We have people in every nook and cranny of that building right now. So.
Well, you said that's a staple, as is the Star Theater. So, growing up in Berkeley Springs, it had to be pretty cool to purchase the Star Theater and run that for a bit, right? I mean, that's a landmark in town.
It was one of those things. Whenever I came home and I had saw that they were looking for potential owners, and Jeannie Mosier, God bless her soul, she passed away a few years ago, and Jack Sorden, the owners of the theater, they kind of did like an interview process, which is a complete opposite of thing that you would think of when you're trying to sell your business, but they wanted to make sure it was going to somebody that was going to take care of the property. And I went home and told Jackie, my wife, I said, man, wouldn't it be cool? Like, not the thought process wasn't, we're going to make a lot of money, but wouldn't it be cool to do this and to do it as a family? And it was fun. You know, my wife took care of dealing with all the studios, Disney and Sony and Warner Brothers.
Okay.
That was kind of cool seeing the backside of the movie
Yeah, which you don't
industry.
really think about.
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
And negotiating the rates, like how much percentage of the box that they're going to take,
Mm-hmm.
and paying them. But once I think we had the original plan that we were going to invest a significant amount of money into. Uh, I don't want to say bringing it back to life because it was never dead. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the Star Theater has always been a staple, and Jeannie and Jack did a fantastic job, I believe, since like 1979.
Wow. Yeah.
And I guess kind of just being stewards of the building, I guess, would
Yeah.
probably be a good or
Yeah.
way to explain it. But so we embarked on this journey to go through our renovation process, and I wish I would have had the mindset that it could have been, we should have documented it better,
Mm-hmm.
because it should have been a TV show, because we
Mm-hmm.
had all of our contractors, Alan Umps, who's done a
Uh-huh.
significant amount of work for me and does such a good job. But we were going on our family vacation, and I think we're like, guys, you have from August, or maybe it was the middle of July, until August 18th, because we wanted to have our grand reopening on the day Jeannie and Jack had their grand opening. So all these things had to come
Yeah.
together. And I remember we got back from our vacation, and Jackie and I and the kids went down there, and we looked at it, we're like, there's no way this place is going to be ready. There was dust everywhere, construction equipment, scaffolding in there, and it all worked out, and we had our grand reopening, and it was great. And of course, then COVID hit, and COVID was kind of that moment for me where I guess I'm a silver lining type of person, no matter what's going on in life. And I said, you know what? I like having that family time,
Yeah.
which used to be our weekends. And at
Mm-hmm.
that point in time, I was working 7 days a week. So we decided as a family it was probably the right thing to do to sell the theater. We the money we put into it, I think, was going to make the theater live for
Mm-hmm.
another 50 or 100 years,
Yeah.
and that was good enough for us.
Did you keep the popcorn the same?
We kept the popcorn the
Uh-huh.
same. Yep, yep. And
That's the favorite, right?
that is the staple of the Star Theater,
Uh-huh.
the 1949, I believe, Manley popcorn
Yeah.
machine. That
Yeah.
is one of probably 15 left in existence, and maybe
Wow.
the only one that's still popping popcorn.
Uh-huh. It's still there.
Still
I
there.
didn't know Alan played a part in that. I didn't
Yep.
know. He built your house too,
Alan
right?
built our
Mm-hmm.
house. He renovated my current office, the old sheets. He did work at he's done almost every construction project for
Yeah.
me, unless it was something very small. Alan has had a part in it. And Alan's one of those people that he knows I'm not picky,
Uh-huh.
and I trust him. I guess he trusts me. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, hey, if you see it in your vision, just run with it. So,
Don't you think it's so important that you stay local too? So
oh,
obviously
absolutely.
Alan's another Berkeley Springs guy, and he's doing most of your work.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a absolute believer in supporting our local
Mm-hmm.
businesses and
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep that money local, because we're typically, your local businesses are hiring local people. It's contributing to the well-being of our community, and we're doing our part in building the whole
Mm-hmm.
entire community up and doing that.
So you're doing that as a commissioner in
Mm-hmm.
Morgan County. So
Mm-hmm.
what's that been like?
It's been it's been fun.
Yeah.
I thoroughly have enjoyed. Just finished my 7th year,
Uh-huh.
and I'm almost 7.5 years in now. And it was one of those things. I had kind of, I don't want to call it a transformative moment, but maybe it kind of was. But I was the first Morgan County resident to do Leadership West Virginia.
Yeah. I remember that.
And Leadership West Virginia is a phenomenal program, and it kind of takes 35 to 40 people from across the state, brings us all together for 2 or 3 days in various parts of the state, so you can get to know the whole entire state. And I always have felt like in the Eastern Panhandle, we're kind of sheltered
Yeah.
from the rest of West Virginia sometimes, and it's and to be a true West Virginian, I think you need to experience McDowell County,
I
Logan
agree.
County, Kanawha,
Yeah,
and
I
Cabell.
agree. It's very different here.
Yeah, so you got to see, and that gave me this opportunity to do it, and I was in there with some phenomenal people, and one of the guys, Mike Chirico, he was the chief of staff for Evan Jenkins at the time, Congressman Jenkins, said, Sean, you'd be a great commissioner. And I was like, whatever, no way. That's politics aren't in the cards for me. And as the class developed, like, man, you know what? I'm serving on these boards, but I really want to do more.
Yeah.
And Mike said, being a commissioner, you can have the most impact on your local community,
Hmm.
more so than any other elected position. So,
Have you found that to be true?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think obviously doing what I do for a living, I'm a business to business insurance broker. I naturally love industry
Hmm.
and anything business. It's always fascinated with me or been fascinating to me. So I feel like planting the seeds for infrastructure opportunities and attracting new business with our Economic Development Authority and
Hmm.
helping businesses navigate, which I think Morgan County has a pretty easy planning process, but navigate the planning commission.
Hmm.
I think the county commission kind of sets the framework for what Morgan County is going to be like 10, 15, 20, 50 years from now with our infrastructure projects.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Growing up in Berkeley Springs too, it's, to look at what's going on over there, it's changed a lot over the years. I'm sure there's, much more change to come, but I feel like every time I get over that way, there's something new to
Yeah.
see.
It's I think Morgan County 20 years from now is going to look different. I don't
Hmm.
think it's going to look too much different, but we're
Hmm.
going to see some investment for housing, which Morgan County is in desperate need
Yeah.
of housing, which we're starting to see those opportunities come to fruition. And I think everybody sometimes is worried we're going to turn into Berkeley County, which not that Berkeley County is a bad thing, but there's been a
Sure.
lot of
Hmm.
economic development,
Hmm.
population growth here.
Hmm.
Morgan County, I think we're a little bit sheltered with our topography. We have
Hmm.
mountains on to the east and to the west, so I
Hmm.
think our economic development is going to be kind of centered around the 522 corridor and maybe a little bit east and south. But I think we're going to be okay. But I think the Morgan County of 20, 30 years from now is going to look a little
It's
different.
going to look different.
Hmm.
Yeah. And you've got young kids in the school system there.
I do.
What's the experience been like? So what are the ages?
Yeah, so I have we have the whole spectrum of children. So I have a 17-year-old that's a junior in high school, a 11-year-old soon to be 12-year-old
Uh-huh.
daughter Henley, and then Skylar just turned 8, and Trip he just turned 4. So we have 4 kids.
Yeah. And what's that like?
It's
You're
it's chaos.
it's chaos.
Yeah,
And you're coaching how many teams right now?
4 teams,
Yeah.
coaching 2 softball teams, a t-ball team, and then a soccer team.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
basically 7 days a week
7 days a
coaching.
week. Yep.
And what's going on at your house? So you've got a farm happening over there?
Yeah. So we have, I mean, my wife is a registered veterinary technician, and she always had goats growing up. And of course, dogs and cats. I'm highly allergic to cats, but we still have them. They have to stay outside the house.
Uh-huh.
But whenever we bought our property, and it's as much hers as it is mine, and I want her to be able to live out those dreams. So we kind of bought raw farm ground, built our house, built the barn, built the she shed is
Yeah.
what I call it. And then we have all these equipment buildings and things, but we make our own hay. We raise miniature Scottish Highland cattle,
Mhm.
my tonic feeding goats. We have horses, a single pig, probably 25 or 30 chickens, and a bunch of goats running around.
And more to come,
And
probably. I'm guessing you're not done.
yeah, I think we love this. Everybody loves Scottish Highland cattle,
Yeah.
so it's the one thing that was probably my wife would tell you it was my idea to get into. We thought they were cool, and of
Hmm.
course, if you go to Hobby Lobby, you see them everywhere.
Yep.
There weren't any breeders around us, so it was kind of my idea to say, hey, the tractor isn't cheap, and my haymaking equipment isn't cheap. We need to sell more than just goats if we want this to be a viable option. Of
Uh-huh.
course, I think everything in terms of business, how can we get something to pay for
Mhm.
itself? So we are in our second year selling babies. Scottish Highland are kind of like a long-term investment. You have to wait until they're 3 years old to breed them, and we bought all of ours as babies. So we had
Okay.
to invest a lot of time and energy into bottle raising these
Yeah.
babies and making sure they're tame and friendly. So hopefully their babies turn out that way.
So
So
you're 2 years in, so you're not
we
selling
are
yet. Y
we are 4 years in,
4 years in.
5 years in.
Okay.
Yep.
So you
So
are selling them
yep,
now.
we're in our
Okay.
second round of babies
Gotcha.
right now. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about the advisory board for CNB Bank. So we've kind of handpicked members across all of our markets, and you have so much business experience. So how do you feel you bring that to us to help with our overall vision for growth?
Yeah, so CMB, what I would say about CMB first, to go back to, obviously the CMB is our local bank, right? Again, I'm a big believer in supporting locals. So of course, back in the day, I really probably didn't have enough money to even have a bank account, but or barely had enough money to have a bank account. But whenever I started down my path of true entrepreneurship, I guess you could call it, with the storage unit business was the first thing. Of course, I had other little businesses over the course of my life, but that was my first big, I guess, splash.
Yeah.
And my old high school baseball coach happened to own those self-storage facilities, and I stopped by one day and he's like, I don't know who I'm going to sell this to. And I had read something probably 6 months to a year earlier that was talking about how good of an investment
Mm.
self-storage was. So I looked at him, I was like, I'll buy it. Had no idea how I was going to get the money. And at the time, uh, with the few folks at CNB and Mark Harrell included in that,
Mhm.
it's like, guys, I probably am. I'm probably not even qualified, but I want to figure this out. And putting our heads together and working through the planning process, CNB Bank was able to give me that opportunity to what I think was kind of like a launch pad for me, because essentially I utilized every dollar from that facility to move on to the next
Mhm.
thing and
Mhm.
constantly just reinvested that money. So I've always have felt like I owe CNB Bank a lot, because CNB Bank kind of gave me that initial opportunity and probably gave me money when they shouldn't have had. And no, I don't know if any other bank would have done that. So I'm always been appreciative of that opportunity. And whenever I was asked to serve on that advisory board,
Mhm.
I'm like, hey, it's an opportunity for me to give back to the bank that kind of helped me get my start as an entrepreneur. Um, so I think uh, the advisory board is such a good opportunity because it allows kind of, we're all pretty like-minded
Yeah. Agreed.
people on that board.
Mhm.
So we can provide good feedback to the
Mhm.
bank, and the bank is able to share that information amongst the various branches and the
Mhm.
employees on what we think. I'm probably, I'm a little probably too risk comfortable with risk at this point in my life. Um, but I'm aggressive.
Mhm.
So I'm always referring people to the bank, and
Mhm.
the bank usually is always able to pull through in some capacity or figure out a way. And that's whenever whenever I think of anything, I always, don't tell me why I can't do it. Just give me one way that I can make something work.
Right.
And I think the bank is pretty flexible with giving that option, like they did for me. Hey, it might not work like this, but
Mhm.
let's kind of re-engineer this in a way that we can make things work so the bank and the borrower are comfortable.
You're telling a local bank story better than I ever could. So, I mean, that's what we do, right? You're a perfect example of that. And
Hmm.
so when you have a local bank and you know the decision makers there, then we get to know you, and it's more a decision based off of you as a person and not so much just what's on paper, right?
Yes.
It makes it so much easier then for us to build that relationship and provide a solution that works for you, that's customized to your situation. And you said you're more comfortable with risk. And I think that's one of the best parts of our advisory board is that we have people that think like you, and we have others that are more conservative, and everybody comes together and shares that feedback with us, which is what makes that group so great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my wife, she's always kind of the one that brings me back to planet Earth, because my head is always in the clouds, and not that, I've failed more times than I probably cared to admit. But you have to be willing to take that leap of faith. And not only, I mean, anytime you're an anytime you're an entrepreneur, you're betting on yourself.
Yeah.
And if there's anything I'm going to bet on, it's going to be
Yeah.
myself. Because I mean, if I fail, it's fine as long as I can learn from that mistake and hopefully not repeat that mistake. Then it's a win-win for me. And usually the bank has come out on the good side of everything that I've done with the bank. So I think the advisory board is a good opportunity just to kind of share what we're seeing out
Yeah.
there and in terms of the market. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, the community banks, your decision makers. And that was, again, I think what allowed me the opportunity to buy my self-storage facilities was the fact that I could sit down with Mark, for example, and say, hey, this is why I want to make it work.
Yeah.
This is why I think it works. And you guys are smarter than me when it comes to the numbers. So tell me
If it works.
Yeah, tell me if it works.
Tell me if it works.
And then I will make it happen.
Yeah.
So the opportunity to deal with a local bank with those local decision makers, you're doing some lending based on the content of somebody's character, and there's a lot of banks that just that relationship is not there anymore.
That's right. So you have something new going on, AI in insurance.
Yep.
So you recently posted on Facebook kind of a new business venture, I think.
Yep.
New partnership. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So I give you the 30,000-foot overview.
Yeah.
So the company's bindiq.ai, and essentially about probably 14 or 16 months ago, I was working through a pretty complex client, and I've always considered our agency as an early adopter of technology because I think we have to. We have to embrace technology. We have to embrace the changes that come with it and figure out how just to be more efficient. And I've always been of the mindset I don't ever want technology to eliminate people. So our goal with this is not to eliminate people, it's to make insurance agencies and brokerages more efficient and reduce their E&O exposure. So essentially, when I was working on this complex client, I'm responsible at our agency. I think we're always a little different because we're not your normal insurance agency that's selling personal lines. We're selling really complex commercial clients that have very identifiable risk, and it's my job to make sure it's covered in some capacity. So I spend most of my time reviewing the legal pages of the insurance policy, which is the last 200 pages of the insurance policy that nobody reads. Yeah. But I have to read them. And as I was working on my client, I was thinking, man, I wish I could put this into ChatGPT and just let it go, let it do its thing. But on our insurance proposals, there's personally identifiable information, and there's not a level of comfort and security with ChatGPT or OpenAI that your information is truly secure yet. So I had this idea, and I talked to a friend of mine, Daniel, about it, and he's like, Sean, I think we can do this. And at the time, I'm like, you know what? I'm tired. I want to focus here. I don't really have the energy. So I actually scheduled meetings with some of our various technology partners to say, hey, here's this idea. I'll buy it. Just build it and create this. But the problem is some of our technology partners, I don't want to say they're too big, but there's too much red tape involved for them to be able to get it from point A to point B and roll it out and launch it. So I waited. Nothing happened. So I called my buddy Daniel Boyce again. It's like, Daniel, we got to do this. Like, there's such a huge opportunity to digest insurance information. Where we get tired, it doesn't get tired. So in a nutshell, essentially you can upload that 30 or 300 page document and it'll summarize it in 2 pages. It'll identify all of your notable exclusions, your endorsements. You put your client's risk profile in there and it'll pop out recommendations. It'll benchmark their data against the rest of the insurance industry to say, yes, they're probably insured adequately. We have our biggest E&O exposure as an insurance agency is in our certificates of insurance that we put out there, which we do probably 50 a day for our various construction clients, any of our contractors that need certificates of insurance to get on job sites. there's this essentially when we send that out, we are certifying that they have these coverages and the needed endorsements. So we build in a certificate checker where you upload the policy, you put your certificate in, it'll scan the policy to make sure the coverages are there, and it'll give you a pass, fail, and then a checklist. So uh, it's a tool. What we believe early data is that it'll save about 8 hours per week per employee in the insurance agency. That it's essentially saving the time that your employees have to scan over
Yeah.
all these insurance documents
Hmm.
to physically check coverages,
Hmm.
and it kind of tells them exactly where to look. It's not going to do their job for them.
Hmm.
We have several disclaimers given the technology of what it is, but we still want them to check, but it's telling them exactly what to look for. And it's going to build applications for them. I don't want to say it's going to make me a lazy agent, because it's not, but it's just going to help me be more efficient. Like my largest client, just this year, I had probably 15 different insurance proposals. And that's kind of when I had that aha moment. Like, man, I really could use AI to just help me be more efficient in digesting this information in a more timely fashion. So that's kind of where it stemmed. There's a couple competitors out there. Our competitors that are in the marketplace are not in the insurance business. I don't want to say they're tech bros, but that's kind of a term that I
Yeah.
use.
Hmm.
It was a think tank thing
Yep.
out of
Hmm.
San Francisco
Hmm.
that these guys got together and they saw an opportunity to capitalize on the insurance business with no experience. So that's our differentiator,
You
is
have the
that
experience.
it's built by an insurance broker
Yeah.
for an insurance broker. So we're really close to launching. I think we're going to be launching within the next 4 weeks, and we're really really excited about what that looks like. And I think for me, it's just a matter of providing a tool to an agency like ours that can allow them to be more efficient while minimizing their errors and emissions insurance
That's exciting
exposure.
for you all. We have some AI strategies for CNB Bank this year and in the coming years, and it's the same for us. The intention is never to reduce our
Sure.
workforce. It's to make our team more efficient and to allow you to spend your time doing less administrative tasks, right? So that for our team, for example, we can kind of fine tune some other skills instead of just the administrative piece. So we're in the process now of, trying to streamline some pretty easy tasks that we can get off of our team's plate that takes up a lot of time. Like you said, it's going to save your team members 8 hours a week.
Hmm.
That's a full day.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time savings there. And so then what can they be doing with their time other than that? Hopefully something that's bringing in some business.
Yeah, our goal is that the insurance market is, as most everybody's aware with their home and auto insurance, it's going up, up, up.
Yeah.
It's not going down. So our thought process in our agency is it's going to allow our staff more time to effectively remarket those
Hmm.
clients. As an independent agent with 60 plus insurance carriers, we will then free up the time to allow our clients that are getting rate increases. Our employees will spend their time um, remarketing their insurance program out to our various carriers, and then spending more time with our clients.
Right.
I mean, our ultimate goal is just to allow more opportunity to spend time with our clients, because the better we know our clients, the better job we can do for
Yeah.
them.
There's the relationship part again.
Yeah.
So I won't keep you much longer. I've taken up, a good bit of your morning, but what did we miss? Anything we didn't cover?
Not that I can think of.
Do you have
No.
time for any hobbies? What do you do for fun?
Um,
Collect cars or
yeah,
ride dirt bikes or something like that?
I'm a big gearhead. I've loved and appreciated the autumn. Which is why I know the Drexel guys next door. But
Mm.
I've been a lover of anything with four wheels, not just fast, but slow, odd
Yeah.
cars, essentially my whole entire life. And I can almost look at somebody and tell you what kind of car they drive. I know almost every make and model of car from 1985 until the current. If there were Jeopardy questions solely based on cars, I would be your Jeopardy champion. But that, and I like to scuba dive and I like to fish,
Yeah, right.
and I have although I hurt my knee, I've been to the Himalayas twice, and I
Hmm.
still have a ambitious goal to climb Mount Everest in the
Yeah.
next probably 2 to 5 years. So
You went, right?
I've been there. Yeah,
You've been there.
I've seen Everest in person. Yeah.
Yeah. So you still have the goal
Still
to
have the
climb it.
goal. Yep,
Yeah.
I had a meniscus transplant almost a year and a half ago now, and it was a really long, brutal recovery, and
Mm.
just to make sure my knee's in a good spot. The last place I want to be is 27,000 feet, and something happened to my
Right.
knee, so I wanted to make
Good
sure
thinking.
I
Mm.
rehabilitated it the right way, and I think it's finally there, so I can trust myself to make another. So my goal was to hopefully climb Aconcagua this
Mm.
January, which is in Argentina, and
Okay.
then maybe next spring, almost a year ago from now, I might be making my way to Nepal for a third time
Wow.
to the Everest region.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah,
Bucket list items for sure.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think we can wrap it up. Thank you for your time. This
Yeah.
has been great.
Thank you for
Thanks for
having
joining
me.
us
Appreciate
today.
it.
Yeah. And join us next time at We're Right Here.